Hello and welcome to Music Rewind, a podcast where we look to tell the stories behind our favorite albums. I'm your host, Steve Epley, and in each episode, we invite a guest on to tell us about their favorite music album, how they discovered it, and what makes it special to them. Joining me today are a few guinea pigs who are willing to test out some new recording software for me, and if it works, we will end up with an enjoyable bonus episode. This was unplanned, unscripted, and sort of spur of the moment, so thank you, gentlemen, for jumping on tonight. In this episode, we're going to talk an old-fashioned top 5 list. And in this case, it's our top 5 songs of summer. My guests tonight are some familiar voices for all the Music Rewind listeners. We have Danny Prokop from episodes Sunny Day Real Estate and recently Nirvana.
Thanks for having me, Steve. Good to be back.
Luke Boris from episodes Radiohead and The Who.
Luke, looking forward to the episode.
And lastly, Michael Borowski of episodes Pearl Jam and Led Zeppelin.
What's up, Steve? Thanks for having me back, man.
Thank you, gentlemen. Rules for tonight are pretty simple. We're just going to go around and talk our top 5 songs that remind us of summer. Any question on those rules?
I just want to iterate that this is top 5 for me. This is just 5 songs of summer.
Yes.
I had a very difficult time narrowing it down.
Oh, I narrowed mine from, number 5 to number 1 is number 1 for me. That
Sure.
just reminds me of summer.
There you go. I had way too many. So
And
These are
they
just-
did not need to have summer in the title, though I'm guessing several probably will.
sure.
Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Go for it, Danny.
And I'll say again, Luke, my list was longer than 5. I struggled with it a lot. But the one I kept going back to are songs that kind of are earworms for me, or things that I hear every summer or put me into a place of summer. So number 5 for me is Springsteen's Born in the USA. And I say that because everyone since the Reagan administration has been listening to the lyrics wrong.
True.
It's not the patriotic song, but it's a song you're guaranteed to listen to at the public pool. It's a song you're guaranteed to hear at every 4th of July parade. And whenever I hear that song, that's instantly in my mind. A homecoming parade, the pool, all that sort of stuff. So number 5 for me is Springsteen's Born in the USA.
I dig it.
Yep.
I think it's classic.
I agree. Yeah.
Steve, make sure you write all of them down. We'll put the playlist together, especially if we have 20 different ones. I don't think we will,
So,
but
Now that's what I call Music Rewind
Yeah,
Summer
there you
Edition.
go.
All right.
there you go.
I like it.
Luke, you want to go next?
Sure. So I'll go with another classic. First thing that popped into my mind when I think of summer is Jamaica by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah.
Has
Nice.
that, just that laid back, beachy summer feel to it. So white boy reggae, if you will.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
song.
Doesn't need a lot of explanation. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that it's got a definite summer vibe to not only the music, but lyrically and all that good stuff. So
No, definitely. Mike?
I think my list was kind of like, I was trying to be cool, like Rob Gordon or something, have a bunch of safe shit in there and then like one odd one just to keep my cred or whatever. So my 5th one was my ringtone for probably that summer, and that was it's Constructive Summer by the Hold Steady.
Oh.
That beginning like guitar riff and it over and over was my ringtone for like 3 years. And ever since I heard that song, I was like, this always reminds me about the summer when you were kind of out of high school, but a little bit of college, or a little like, not like when you were young, a little bit.
I'll throw in a spoiler alert, but that's on my list too. And I'll give a reason why later.
nice. I've never heard it.
That's not where I thought we would tie. Like have multiple of.
Well, stay tuned.
So for my number 5, this song has stuck with me ever since the commercials that ran nonstop in the early 90s for the Sony CD Walkman, which is Summer Song by Joe Satriani.
Okay.
That I can still picture the commercial, people dancing on the side, break dancing and skateboarding and just looking all cool. It was like 92, 93. And this is just a great jam. It's just instrumental and summer song.
Nice.
I wonder how many artists have a song called Summer Song. I can think of a few others too.
Well, that was one of what we were talking about before, and I'm glad Steve said it because I first started constructing a list of all of my favorite songs with summer in the title.
Sure.
And surprisingly, pretty solid list.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
pandering, you know?
My honorable mentions are filled with the word summer.
Okay.
I have my iPod right here, so I'm gonna scroll down to the S's and see if I can find my summer songs.
Well, round two. Who wants to go first for the fourth one?
Do you want to maybe we counterclockwise it? Like you go, Steve, you go for, and then back
Yeah, I
around.
can do. Yeah, we can do that. All right. So so my number 4 is Center Field, John Fogerty. Baseball.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That song. I mean, it's summer. That's it. You can't not get hyped about baseball, but when you hear that song.
That's like another list right there. Songs about baseball,
Yeah.
And baseball is summer to me.
right?
I love it.
Brilliant.
All right. Mine is another, I don't know, odd one. Wilco, heavy metal drummer. For some reason, that song always takes me to, even though it's down in St. Louis area, but it just what it'd be like to watch those guys in Uncle Tupelo and stuff play. I know it's Wilco, but obviously the song's when they're growing up, but just kind of takes you to that small town feel of going to see local bands that summer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. And Wilco actually played in Bloomington, Illinois last summer, and I missed him, so I regret that to this day.
You can hear all about that song and that album on our Music Rewind episode.
Danny and I saw it live, right? A couple months ago or last year.
I didn't know that song existed until I researched that episode, though.
Oh, it's a great song.
Mhm.
Great album.
Agreed.
Luke?
Number 4 for me is REM, Gardening at Night.
Oh,
Off their first EP a couple summers ago. Went on an REM kick. I wouldn't listen to anything but them. And
I don't know that one.
it's called Chronic Town, which is a 4-song EP that they put out before their first album, Murmur.
yeah. I don't think I know it. I think the only one I would think of is Night Swimming.
Yeah,
as a
that'd be another
summer song.
That,
Yeah.
be
that
another
almost
great
made my
summer
top 5.
Yep.
Night Swimming. Yeah.
So Gardening at
Pretty
Night, like any REM song, isn't about gardening at night, but I like to garden, and that summer I would put in my headphones and work on my potatoes and carrots and tomatoes, and it just that whole EP kind of has a summer feel for me. And the jangly guitars and all of that, it's feel good summer type
Exudes
music.
summer.
So
Yes.
it does.
Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, ambiguous lyrics, but I think his intention was it was a pointless task to garden at night because the sun's not there. So obviously that's not a true statement, but I think that's lyrically where it goes. But still, it feels like summer to me. So number 4.
Number 4 for me is Hey Jealousy by the Gym Blossoms. And it's a reason why Michael was saying before about reminding him when he was talking about heavy metal drummer about seeing bands in small towns. Michael and I were able to sneak down when we were 12, 13
Yeah.
or so.
But yeah, you might have been 12. You might have been 11.
So the Spring Valley, our hometown, had beer gardens with cover bands all the time. And we were able to walk down because my parents' house was only, 4 or 5 blocks away from the park. And we could stand outside of the gates, if you will, the fence of the baseball stadium, and the cover band Rosemary, who happened to be my neighbors. And that's why my parents let me go down. So shout out to the Kaczynski brothers. They played Hey Jealousy, and that's the first time I heard that song. And it reminds me of the beer gardens, walking back with Michael, talking about music. And it just, every time I hear that song, that's where I am. It's lightning bugs. It's you're hearing something new for the first time. It's just that jingle jangle of possibilities and endlessness, and it always hits home for me.
I dig it.
You want to go right along with your number 3 then, Danny?
Yeah, think of it like fantasy football draft.
Fantasy draft.
We're ping-ponging it back and forth.
So number 3 for me is also a song that has specific meaning just because of where it puts me. And it's Fred Astaire by the band Lucky Boys Confusion. And for those of you who don't know, Lucky Boys is a band from the Chicago suburbs. I guess pop punk ska sort of band from the early 2000s, but would have been my junior year of college. Some friends of ours, teammates of mine, like 6 of us lived in a house together. And one of my roommates hooked up speakers to the outside. This is, Bluetooth. We found a way to hook up our CD player, to the outside speakers on the porch. And at the time, you couldn't drink on campus, but you could drink off campus. And we were right across the street. So that's where everyone would gather. And this CD would play endlessly. I mean, we listened to it all the time, but it would just play endlessly. So it just reminds me of, especially getting off from like spring practice. It just ended. We don't have practice tomorrow. Let's put on Lucky Boys. Let's find somebody to get us some Keystone Light or a protein shake or whatever we're doing. And we're sitting on the furniture we got from the thrift store. And that song is going to play. And again, just one of those songs that always reminds me of summer and sitting out on the porch and, those other 5 other guys that I shared that time with.
Nice. All right. So my number 3, very similar to yours. It reminds me of a time rather than it actually being a summer song. So it's Incubus, Aqueous Transmission. So my buddies and I, we go kayaking quite a bit in the summertime, and it just reminds me of that. So yeah, the lyrics are lying face up on the floor of my vessel, I marvel at the stars and feel my heart overflow. So it just has that.
Which album's that on?
Morning View. And
Okay.
it's the final song on Morning View.
All right.
So there was another Incubus song in contention, Summer Romance, obviously from Science, but this was the one that really, I don't know, it's just laid back, very cool instruments happening. I couldn't name the instruments that are going on. It's one of those funky Incubus songs that, I don't know. Just,
Acquiesces or Summer Romance was the funky one?
Aqueous Transmission. Yep.
Okay. Anything off Science is going to be pretty wild.
Summer Romance is funk to a T. Aqueous is funky because of the style, I guess.
Okay.
It's very laid back. There's no funk involved in that one.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, that whole record's kind of like put that on and smoke about.
there you go. Yep. High
It's
school,
like the whole record is kind of like, whoa.
high school Luke saw them many times, and I'm not saying he did or did not inhale, but yes, I would agree with that statement.
All right, Mike, what's your next one?
I guess I'm getting into the classic rock part of my list. So if I really went down the road of just like picking all the stuff that like reminds me of like my youth in the summer, I could get to that for sure. But I'm gonna go with Alice Cooper, School's Out, man. Like,
Oh, there you go.
that summer song. It's
Yeah.
School's Out, and also reminds me of like Days of Confusion.
Ace of Confused. Yeah, that's the one they play.
So I argued with my own memory, thought I had faulty memory because I'm like, I love that song. It always reminds me of getting out of school and this has to be on my list. And I'm like, did I feel that way before I saw the movie or after I saw the movie? So it was on my list, but I had to bump it for other things. But that's a great choice. Classic choice.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying because that came out when we were in high school. So you're like,
Well, it was
is
even
it-
cooler because they're the class of 77, which is my parents' high school graduating class, which happens to be like 20 some years after mine. So I was seeing it about the time where they were would have been them graduating, and they would neither confirm nor deny any of the aspects that took place in the film if they resembled anything that was going on in the Illinois Valley at the time that they were in high school, but fell in love with the movie and obviously the soundtrack. Great choice.
Yeah, my dad said the same thing about Days of Confused at one point. He's like, "Yeah, meet at the moon tower, meet in the cornfield."
Right, Moon Tower.
My next one is a song called "Under the Sun" by Sugar Ray. It's not one of Sugar Ray's more known ones, but it came out in 2001 on their self-titled uh, third or fourth album. I don't remember. But it came out right when I was in Hawaii for the Army. And that whole album was like a beach soundtrack. We are out there in Hawaii. It's summer every day. So you get a little tired of it. But the, don't give me that look.
Oh, poor boy.
When you're on a private salary, it's not all that fun. So the beach is free. So you go to the beach a lot. But the, that's track one off that whole album. And that track just screams, good friends at the beach, keg, bonfire, that whole basic setup. And every time I hear it,
So I'm excited for this playlist because I've never heard that song.
it's a good tune. It's the Mark McGrath, that guy. He has a lot of reminiscing in the lyrics himself, talking about like KROQ in LA and his, where he came up listening to music. So it's a good tune. Good tune.
Greatest rock and roll Jeopardy player of all time.
I would say that reminds me of when they came out with Fly, because that was all over MTV for a summer.
Mhm.
It was everywhere, and that was every third song. And it just so happened my family and I were leaving for vacation. Don't know where we were going, but we were the Griswolds. We always drove everywhere, and I might have heard Fly, conservative effort, 150 times throughout.
It was every hour on the hour.
So it
for
reminds me
that,
of
that year.
yeah.
Was that TRL times on MTV? Or was it pre
Might have
TRL?
I think that was
before
right
it.
before.
You know,
Okay.
Fly would have been TRL, right? No, I don't know when that big record is like their third record, right?
Well, early Sugar Ray is like
It's like
early.
heavy.
Yeah, it's like early Incubus
Yeah,
weirdness. So yeah,
yeah.
it sounds nothing like Fly was their turning point of like, hey, this made money. We should do more of this stuff. All right. Well, to turn the draft around again here, I'm going with "Summertime" from Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff, or Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, if you want to be technical. But
Yeah, we got to be technical.
nothing screams the summer more than that song. It's just so smooth. 2 miles an hour, so everybody sees you.
Someone else might be talking about that a little bit later.
Oh,
Glad I could steal one.
No, it's brilliant. I'm totally with you.
I love that tune. Throw to you, Mike.
I'm gonna go with Chicago's "Saturday in the Park."
Love it.
It always just kind of reminds me of like the first couple years when I moved here to Chicago, and just hearing that song, and when like the weather breaks, the first time in April, it's 45, 50 degrees. That's summer in Chicago to start, because then it's too damn hot to go out there when it's 115 in the humidity. But it's that first, like this, what we had last week where it was 75 and people were losing their mind. So, yeah, that part. And I always loved the part when he, the Italian man selling ice cream, and he's singing he sings in Italian. I always thought that was just kind of cool and gives it some color to the, like the park.
Is it Saturday in the Park in the movie Little Nicky, where he plays it backwards and it's the devil talking?
I can't remember which one it is, but every time Chicago comes up or I hear him, I always say that to Marissa, like, this is Chicago. The Ozman always brought it, but Chicago. So I tried it with my record player. It doesn't work. I didn't hear Satan.
Luke? Next up.
Number 2 for me is the Decemberists June Hymn.
Oh, nice.
So
Good song.
yeah, Colin Malloy, he can tell a story like no other. So this one kind of tells a story of spring turning into summer. I mean it's perfectly written. If you haven't heard it, check it out. It'll be on.
Great song.
That's
Great
what I
album.
call Music Rewind, Summer Edition. But yeah, it's just got that cozy, cool summer night feel to it. It's not yet sweltering where you can't bear to be outside. Just sitting out on the porch, looking at a lake, maybe, just enjoying the views.
All right.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny.
So I'm going, Michael had alluded to this song or talked about the song earlier, but Constructive Summer by the Hold Steady. And for me, this album came out, my wife, and I, it was our first real place together. And we were about 4 blocks from Wrigley Field. And we had a two flight, but our back, it wasn't really a back roof patio, but we had roof access. So we sort of put rugs out there and we put lawn furniture out there, and at night, you could see the lights of Wrigley Field, and this record had just come out. So I would sit out there with the CD player at first and then the Bluetooth and listen to it. And whenever that song would come up and just hear, I would have WGN on the radio, Hold Steady before, then WGN on, and it would be delayed. I'd hear the crowd and then hear what happened. And it was like 07, I think, or whenever that record came out. And it was that just reminds me of summer. And then, Luke, you said you hadn't heard it before. Listen to the lyrics. It's just one of those great kind of hold steady, great summer songs, for lack of a better.
Yeah. I can attest those are some good nights up on that rooftop listening to jams. I mean, we should talk about the several discussions that we had about what Danny said was the greatest summer song ever. And she's a national treasure. And that was the Miley Cyrus song that I think that came out like around that year.
Party
or
in
the
the
year
USA.
before. Party in the
Party in the
USA.
USA is just a jam.
We had hours of arguments
That's for
about it.
after our top 5.
Here's the deal. We now have 2 overlaps, so maybe we can sneak that one in on our top 20.
Oh, we're gonna have to. Whatever we
Playlist.
talk about's got to be on the playlist. It's gonna be.
But like I said,
top
we've got 2 overlaps, so we need 2
Oh yeah.
replacements. So
Well,
Miley's one
I'm
of them.
not. Oh, and you said replacements. I might have to sneak a replacement song in there.
There you go. So you actually get to choose since yours were the overlap. So
I do want to throw out there though that Party in the CIA by Weird Al is better than Party in the USA.
I've not.
It
heard
is
that.
just musically a better song, and it is much more entertaining.
I would not deny that. I would agree.
All right. We'll check that one out.
I guess we're to the number ones now. So last tracks, Danny.
Well, my original number 1 was Summertime by DJ Jazzy Jeff on the Fresh Print. And I will say for a quote another lyric, but then I'm going to go with my alternate number 1, the ones that I was going back and forth Luke to your thing. My favorite lyric of that Summertime is, went to the mall and got me a short set. Like, he went to buy an outfit to play pickup basketball. That's just brilliant, man. Come on. That's who hasn't been to the mall? We've talked about mall culture.
Yeah.
The Foot Locker. Come on.
Oh.
But I'll go with my alternate would be, and Luke, you talked about REM, Night Swimming for me. Automatic for the People. It was one of the first CDs I ever bought. Bought it at behest of a past Music Rewind guest, Rick Hansen, who did the Masters of Puppet episode. He said, you're going to like this record, buy it. And blew me away. And that song, Night Swimming, if I'm driving alone at night and it's quiet and it's warm out, windows down, as loud as it can go, not for volume or anything crazy, but just for the feel, the nostalgia of it and how it captures the essence of everything you want in a great summer song.
There you go. I completely concur with that. So mine is a Windows Down song as well, but it's for other reasons. It is to crank it all the way up. So the Who, Love Ain't for Keeping. So I don't know what it is about that song. It just has summer feel to it. I don't think I'd be cranking it on a 20-degree December day. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'll crank it on a 20-degree December day, but I get the most out of it, like you said, when the windows are down, arms out the window, just feeling like you're flying, maybe stepping on the gas pedal a little too much. But lyrically, it works as well. But yeah, just it's one of those fast, just barreling, awesome songs. And for some reason, that was the one that struck me as the most summer-esque of my list. So
Love it.
Thanks.
Mike?
I'm going to be the old man again in the group. So I'm going with the Loving Spoonful, Summer in the City. Mostly because I want to talk about the Loving Spoonful. Like, I think that's an underrated band, man. Like, there's a lot of good tunes from those guys, and you never hear enough of them. I'll stand by it. You know what I almost feel like I sound like? I sound like Paul Rudd in Knocked Up when he's talking to Seth Rogen saying, some really good Steely Dan. Like, and Seth Rogen's just like, Steely Dan gargle my balls. And that's what I feel like I'm talking about when I talk about like the Loving Spoonful or something. Like, this fucking guy, he thinks he's so cool with this.
Who's
Tool
in the
and
Loving
December.
Spoonful? Are there any names in the lineup that recognize? I don't know the lineup.
I don't really either. I just
Loves
I
him
think I
so
had a
much,
couple-
couldn't name a member.
no, I just
all right,
Oh,
I
yeah,
got
that's a
John.
good point.
John Sebastian, Steve Boone,
oh
Zal
you had me at Steve
Yanovsky, Joe Butler, Jerry Yester, and Jim Yester.
Joe Butler sounds familiar.
John
Didn't
Sebastian
they just vote on the new bill in Idaho?
was he was in a bunch of bands in the 70s. So I'm going. That's what I'm going with. I don't care. I want it on a playlist because it's
on
not
there.
on every summer playlist ever.
It's a good song. It's a good song. It's a good song. You crossed the line when you were advocating for the Loving Spoonful, and I'm happy to be educated otherwise.
You have Alice Cooper, Chicago, and Loving Spoonful in the same playlist, Mike.
It's going to be a good one. It is.
I'm just saying,
Steve, you're going to have to get creative with the roller coaster ride. That is.
Oh, I didn't get creative at all.
playlist.
I went full nostalgia back to the Illinois Valley for me, which is Jack and Diane from John Mellencamp. So there's several, lyrics in that particular. I mean, yeah, let alone the clap, the sing along. There's so many parts of that song that was playing every year. It just seemed like like we mentioned with other songs, every hour on the hour, whatever those radio stations were in the Illinois Valley. But they mentioned the Tasty Freeze. I mean, that alone, it just feels like home, that song.
Great choice.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Annie and the Illinois Valley Tasty Freeze.
yeah.
Go visit it. Great stuff.
Does Annie still serve the Elvis? Do you guys remember the Elvis? It was.
Yep. She brought all the old ones back.
Really?
When she bought it, she started bringing back she calls them old Sundays or old fashioned Sundays, and a lot of people were pretty happy. Like they brought all those different ones back because stuff I haven't had in years.
So, lightning round. Let's throw out some honorable mentions. I'm sure you guys all got some. A couple of mine I wanted to mention were the two that would never going to make my top 5, but there's Summer Girls from LFO and
Nice.
Steal My Sunshine from Len.
Yeah, they were on every list that you looked up. I can't. Those songs wanted me to blow my brain out when they were on.
A good jam.
And I gotta give a bit to my boy Don Henley with Boys of Summer. So,
Ooh, good call.
which I prefer over the Ataris. I'm sorry to the Ataris fans for their one song, but the Don Henley. Who else has some honorable mentions out there?
I mean, summer related, not really, but Audio Slave Exploder. That song just it's got the same the Who Love It for Keeping feel to it. It just makes you want to step on that gas pedal and fly. So that one was honorable mention. Bob Dylan, Buckets of Rain, Fish, Lawn Boy, got some olfactory hues. I don't know. Incubus, Summer Romance, I mentioned that earlier. Modest Mouse, Dashboard as well. So those were just
Nice.
another. Yeah, just I think all of those were more for feel rather than lyrically, or they just have that summery essence to them. So
When we first started doing it, was like songs that were like had summer in the title that you know
Right.
you were gonna hear every summer on the radio. So hot
Yeah.
summer in the city, back of my neck feels dirty and gritty.
who sings "Hot Fun in the Summertime"?
That's Fly in the Family Stone.
Okay, I was gonna say that was on Pee Wee Herman, I believe. I
Yeah,
think that's how
yes, it was
how I know
Captain
it.
Curtis.
Yes,
Vacation by the Go-Go's.
there you go.
Yep.
Oh,
Walking on Sunshine, Katrina and the
Yes,
Waves.
yep.
it had to be turned out to be a very prophetic name.
I flipped through my iPod here, so I've got Summer '68 by Pink Floyd, Summer House, Better Than Ezra, Summer Romance, Incubus, Summer Skin, Death Cab for Cutie, Summer Teeth, Wilco, Summer Turns to High, REM, Summer Well, Interpol, Summer Wind, Frank Sinatra.
Oh, Summer Wind.
I had that on my honorable mention list.
When Martin sings it on The Simpsons, I always think of that one version of it.
And this is just summer at the beginning. It's crazy because it obviously
There's a
on my
Springsteen
iPod,
song from, is it Working on a Dream? It's Girls in Their Summer Clothes.
Okay.
Pretty good summer song. But
What about Cruel Summer by Taylor
Cruel
Swift?
Summers, no. Cruel
Oh,
Summer.
she has one. I'm looking at a list right now, and they're right next to each other.
Like Venus or someone, or No.
Bananarama.
Bananarama.
And then apparently Taylor Swift, I don't know if she covered it or if it's a completely different song.
I will say Gin and Juice is tremendous summer song.
I agree.
Gotta have it
Yep.
on. For me, Juicy by Notorious B.I.G. was also one of those summer songs. And I think it reminds me of playing basketball at the Stats house in the driveway, and we would bring out their extension cords to have their parent full-blown speaker set sitting next to the driveway to play cassette singles
Nice.
and play those songs. But yeah, those were
Did we mention Sublime, Doing Time?
summertime.
No, that was just.
That's another
And then
excellent one.
you got Lana Del Rey's version. If you
Well, the song "Summertime" that all, including Will Smith, that all samples from, that goes back to like the 30s. There's hundreds of versions of that one.
Who sang "Summertime Blues" first? I know the Who.
Eddie Cochran.
Was it? Okay.
Eddie Cochran's the one that I know of. I mean, that could
Okay.
be. He could be.
See, that one might date back to the.
Yeah, he
early
could be
recordings as
covering
well,
somebody
so-
else, but Eddie
yeah.
Cochran's the one that I know of.
Your Soul Last Summer by Taking Back Sunday. I mean, it's not a summer song, but you can play that song anytime you want to, Michael, and you know that.
I'll throw y'all a curveball. Danny, you might know this one, but Sunday from Sunday in the Park with George, the Stephen Sondheim musical. Silence.
No, I should know that. No.
Sunday.
Yes, I do know
Yeah.
that because when I started doing community theater at the old Stage 212, there was a cassette boombox, and all they had in it in between rehearsals and stuff was the best of Sondheim.
That'd be on there.
And that was on there. Yes. So if you want to go that route, any summer musical I was in. So the Sound of Music really brings me back.
But that song from Sunday in the Park with George, which if you watch, you can go on YouTube and the whole original version is on there. And it's just a really cool musical. if we ever get around to doing the Hamilton roundtable, we'll probably dive into Sunday in the Park for a bit.
Sondheim deserves his own episode
Yeah.
or series. You know,
My son's getting ready to do Giants in the Sky from Into the Woods as a solo on
Brilliant.
stage coming up.
Brilliant. I just saw Josh Groban, I believe, is doing Sweeney Todd on Broadway.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think I did see ads for that when I was up there. Oh, guys, I think that we've covered a big range of summertime songs here. Our top 5 songs of summer and some good honorable mentions.
I'd buy the album.
Absolutely. We'll put this together and put it on the stream and playlists.
Yeah, just I'll have to re-listen to it and try to write it down at the same time. But that's something
have
that
a list.
the producer does.
I have a list. I've got it.
I know we're leaving and we can cut this, but do you guys have individual playlists for summer?
I know you do, Danny.
I did not have a chance to put it together.
No. I just meant, like, do you normally have, like, Luke, you clearly had songs that remind you of summer and all that kind of stuff. Do you have a pre-existing list that might not have made your top 5, but
I am an old-fashioned soul. This is what I listen to music on when I'm outdoors. Maybe you can make a playlist on this, but I don't know how you do it. So it's still got the old
brilliant. Yeah.
I used to, and then I switched jobs and got a new laptop and new phone and everything. So I haven't had a chance to redo my lists and music set lists. So
yeah, because just from looking from this is why I brought it up. I have like 11 playlists that are called Windows Down, Volume Up.
Nice.
I didn't even look at. And then Michael,
The Monster, The Hazy Shade of Summer.
Hazy Shade of Summer.
30 songs.
Yeah.
52
Wow.
hours. It is the summer.
Yeah, that album we should yes.
And he adds to it all the time, folks.
So you guys can share playlists back in
Through
forth?
Apple.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you make
See,
them, you can share them.
that's how old I am. I didn't know you could do that.
It's actually been pretty nice. We used to. I mean, it was cooler when we used to go and trade
together
music
and
have beers and pizza and
trade
shit.
music.
But then our wives and girlfriends and stuff were like, Jesus Christ, these two.
see, my
they ever
playlists
gonna
are
go to
all
bed?
Sleep 1, Sleep 2, Sleep April, Sleep June. I'm old,
Is that
man.
that one festival in Connecticut? Is that all that is? Just a playlist?
The Sleep
of,
Fest, yes.
The Sleep Fest in Connecticut?
how is that real and how are the 4 of us don't have bands that are booked on that? Like
Can make it work.
We fit the demographic.
They could just play our live stream up on a big screen.
Yes. That's
that'll
on
work.
sleep. That's on sleep number 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
now that's what we call not music. I mean,
Yeah.
Wasn't like Jack Johnson the headliner of that guy? Who's the headliner? of that one?
John Mayer.
John Mayer.
Yep.
well, I'm gonna see John Mayer twice this summer. If that makes us feel any better to tie this all back together as part of Dead & Co.
I listened to Sob Rock during lunch today when I was pulling weeds in the yard. I dig
We're
it.
okay.
I dig
Yeah,
it. It's a
Heart-wrenching.
good record, isn't it?
I like it. Yep.
I still stand by Try from the John Mayer Trio.
The Try is amazing.
I
as
love
well.
that album. I listened to it straight through the other day again. Love it.
Yes, completely agree. And if you get a chance to see Dead & Co. this summer on their quote-unquote farewell tour, I highly recommend it.
Bob Weirman's
Epic.
not going anywhere.
I hated everything about it, everything about the Dead until I saw them, and it was a
It was a
concert.
good time.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for helping me out with my new software and for sharing your top 5 songs of summer. Listeners out there, if you enjoyed this episode, please reach out on our socials and let us know if you want more bonus episodes like this, what topics to do, and what song reminds you of summer. In closing, please take a moment to give us a rating or review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. It is extremely helpful as it tells the almighty algorithms that this is a show that should be recommended to others. You can even follow us on YouTube or comment on episodes there. Thank you again for listening to Music Rewind, a podcast from the Sidereal Media Group. And as I always say, listen to the full album. Until next time.
A podcast from the Sidereal Media Group. Back to you, anchors.